other crucial developments. As the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas continues, Israel has now been accused of denying entry to trucks carrying aid for civilians of Gaza. This comes amid mounting pressure from global monitoring bodies, including the United Nations and Amnesty International, upon Israel to allow immediate access for aid to reach Gaza. Truck drivers from Egypt have alleged that they've been turned away from the border checkpoint between Israel and Egypt several times and have stated that the aid required in Gaza is not reaching the people due to these actions. Listen in.
كل ما نخش نرجع تاني أنا رجعت مرتين وكل ما نروح هناك عند بوابة إسرائيل بيترجعنا تاني نرجع تاني ونعمل مناحية تاني والشغلة دي عايزين نودي المواد الغازية ديت لإخواننا جو محتاجين الأكل.
رجعنا تاني دخلنا بعدها بيوم دخلنا تاني نفس اللي حصل اتكرر تاني من الجانب الإسرائيلي. قعدنا برضه الساعة 11 لحد الساعة 4 العصر وقال لك جوه على مصر لف وارجع مصر تاني. ايه الأسباب احنا ما نعرفهاش.
Still with us on the broadcast is Sasha Machta. Now, Israel has stated that it will open the Rafah border crossing with Egypt soon, as was outlined in the very first phase of the peace deal that was reached in Sharm el-Sheikh. I wanted to understand from you, what is the prerequisite underlined by the Israeli government to doing so?
I mean, I think that the prerequisite is pretty obvious. I think the prerequisite is that Hamas will also abide by the deal. And I think that Israel has only taken this action because it knows and it's gotten probably guarantees by the United States and from the mediators that Hamas is going to continue to abide by the ceasefire because they've been in constant violation of phase one ever since they continued to hold the bodies of the 16 deceased hostages and also attack troops. I mean, it's not possible for two troops to be killed if they're abiding by two Israeli troops to be killed the other day if Hamas were to be abiding by the ceasefire. So I think that opening the crossing is showing that Israel's actions and firm responses against Hamas's ceasefire violations have worked, because for this ceasefire to succeed, it requires enforcement and it requires peace through strength, as Donald Trump said, and nobody, not Israel, not the international community, can allow Hamas to continue these violations. So it's good to see that the Rafah crossing has been reopened, because it means that the pressure on Hamas has worked to have them continue their part of the deal.
All right, requesting you to stay on with us as we're tracking some other crucial developments. Jared Kushner, U.S. President Donald Trump's son-in-law and advisor, has now stated that Israel must help the Palestinians thrive after the war in order to achieve full regional integration. Kushner has also added that the U.S. is currently focused on creating a joint security and economic opportunity for both Israelis and Palestinians to live side by side. Moreover, alongside U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, he had earlier stated that efforts to communicate this message to Israel have already started. He's also mentioned that the path to Palestinian statehood should be left to the Palestinians themselves. Additionally, Kushner has also commented on Hamas, emphasizing that the United States believes that the group is acting in good faith in searching for hostage remains. Still with us on the broadcast is Sasha Machta. What do you make of this rhetoric coming in?
Well, I think that what Kushner has said about Israelis having to improve the living conditions of the Palestinians, I totally agree. I think that only when the Palestinians realize that they have a prosperous future ahead of them and that they don't need to keep on killing us and that they don't need to keep on carrying out terror attacks and that they don't need to keep on rejecting our existence, only when they see a prosperous future ahead will they hopefully lay down their ambitions of destroying the state of Israel. And I think that Israel should incentivize the Palestinians to through economic incentives, through improving the conditions in the checkpoints, through a series of different incentives that could bring the Palestinians to a more prosperous future, even though there's so many forces within the own Palestinian leadership that want to keep the Palestinians poor and wants to keep the Palestinians in misery because they see it as an asset for their national cause. And I think that Israel's national security interest is, in fact, to improve the living conditions of Palestinians, despite what the Palestinian Authority and Hamas has been doing to their people over the years. And if we want to see a future of coexistence, it will have to require, of course, the Palestinians to accept the state of Israel, accept the state of Israel as the homeland of the Jewish people. And I think that that's exactly what they said in the interview, what Kushner and Wickoff said, that the Palestinian state actually depends on the Palestinians. For months, for years, the Israelis have been told that Palestinian state depends on them and that the obstacle to Palestinian state is the state of Israel. But we're seeing a change in the tone of the administration. That's not true anymore. Now what they're saying is what we've been saying here in Israel all along, that it's the Palestinians, their own, that they should take accountability for them, for their destiny. They should take accountability for their future. And it actually relies on them because Israel has gone above and beyond throughout history to bring about a Palestinian state. And we actually did bring about a Palestinian state in Gaza, and we saw how that ended up. So I think it's actually a great change in rhetoric that the U.S. is now saying, of course, Israel has to improve the lives of Palestinians because that will make the Palestinians less violent against the Jewish people and against Israel. But at the same time, that a state depends on the Palestinians, and it depends on reforms, it depends on de-radicalization, and it depends on creating a future where the Palestinians don't see killing Israelis or killing Jews as a goal, rather living side by side. And when you're asking about your second question, could you repeat it, please? The second statement?
This was it.
thank
Regarding
you.
his rhetoric and how you view this. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that it's a positive and it's a new change from what previous administrations have been saying.
All right, with that, I would like to thank you for taking out time and sharing your analysis with us on NewsX World. With that, viewers, we're shifting focus towards more developments coming in. We're now learning that Israeli forces have opened fire towards the Lebanese town of Fallujah. This is according to media reports coming in from Lebanon. The strikes were reportedly carried out from an Israeli base near the eastern border with Lebanon. The strikes on this area mark a latest escalation in the region. Israeli forces have already been targeting several towns in southern Lebanon, including Sheba, Fallujah and Blida. Previously, attacks in southern Lebanon have led to casualties. Lebanon's health ministry earlier reported that strikes on Thursday killed one person and wounded 7 others. Meanwhile, in response, the Israeli military has stated that the strikes were only targeting Hezbollah fighters and allies and infrastructure. Meanwhile, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has accused Israel of attacking civilian facilities, calling it a violation of the ceasefire agreement that was reached last year itself. The agreement, which was established in November last year, has been, in fact, violated several times since then. Airstrikes have taken place, drone attacks have also occurred, gunfire has also been reported in southern Lebanon. There are calls by the Israelis and the Americans to the Lebanese government to ensure that the Hezbollah disarms.